Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new deep dive.
Yes.
This time we're taking a deep dive into master your emotions.
Whoa.
It's gonna be a good one. I know, right? I'm so excited to unpack all these strategies, for understanding and managing all those emotions that we have.
Oh, yeah.
And how we can kind of make them work for us instead of against us, right?
Absolutely. And this book's got it all. It's got evolutionary psychology, it's got happiness research, and even practical tools.
Ooh.
Like the Sedona method, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
But one of the things that really stood out to me at the beginning of the book was this idea that our brains are actually wired for negativity.
It's true.
It's kind of like a shocker.
And it's a bit of a shocker, but when you think about it,
Yeah.
from an evolutionary perspective, it makes sense.
Okay, I'm listening.
So picture this. You're living in a tribal society like thousands of years ago.
Okay.
Your survival depends on being accepted by the group, right? If you're rejected, that could mean being left alone to face predators or starve.
Oh, that's scary.
It is scary. So
Okay.
our brains evolved to prioritize those negative events because they were often life or death situations.
Wow, that's mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it?
So even though, we're not dodging saber-toothed tigers anymore,
Right.
our brains still have this ancient negativity bias.
Exactly. And that negativity bias means that bad experiences tend to stick with us more than good ones.
Oh, so true.
Like, have you ever noticed how you might dwell on a critical comment from your boss
Oh, yeah.
more than you do praise for a job well done?
All the time.
Yeah, it's like the negative stuff just echoes in your head louder.
It does. And so this negativity bias that was once crucial for survival
Right.
is now kind of
Yeah.
leading to all this unnecessary stress and unhappiness.
Yeah, but the good news is once we understand this wiring,
Okay.
we can start to rewire our thinking.
I like that. I like that a lot. So we talked about negativity bias.
Yes.
But what about happiness? What determines our happiness?
That's a great question. And the book actually breaks down the happiness equation in a way that I found really surprising.
Really?
Yeah, so it highlights research by Sonia Lyubomirsky,
Okay.
who suggests that our happiness levels are surprisingly stable. About 50% is determined by genetics,
Okay.
40% by our thoughts and actions. That's the internal stuff.
Right.
And only 10% by external factors like wealth or achievements.
So that means that that new phone I just got,
Yeah.
or that promotion that I'm working towards, might give me a little temporary boost,
Exactly.
but it's not really going to change my overall happiness in the long run.
That's exactly right. And that's what we call hedonic adaptation.
Okay.
It's like you get used to that new phone after a while,
Yeah.
and the excitement fades, and your happiness returns to its baseline.
That makes so much sense. I've been thinking about happiness all wrong.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah.
We often think that happiness is about achieving certain things or acquiring possessions, but it's really about our mindset and the internal work we do.
So if lasting happiness isn't about chasing those external rewards,
Right.
then what is it about?
It's about cultivating a positive mindset, engaging in activities that bring us joy and fulfillment.
And I guess that kind of leads us to this idea that
Yes.
emotions,
Yes,
they're not permanent, right?
they are not.
They're like temporary visitors.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
They're fleeting, even intense emotions like anger or sadness.
So we don't have to let them control us.
We don't.
Even the really intense ones.
Even the really intense ones, instead of resisting them, we can learn to observe them without judgment
Okay.
and let them pass naturally.
That's a powerful shift
It is.
in perspective.
It is.
I really like the example in the book about Penelope.
Oh, yes.
She's having this super frustrating morning. She wakes up late.
We all been there.
Right. She's rushing through her routine and she's just feeling annoyed.
Yeah.
But instead of trying to force that irritation away, she just acknowledges it. She's like, yes, I'm annoyed, but this feeling will fade and I'll feel better.
That's a perfect example of detaching from the emotion rather than identifying with it.
Yeah.
And there's also a subtle change in language, the book points out.
Ooh, tell me more.
Instead of saying, I am angry, try saying, I feel angry.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Small shift,
Yeah.
but it can make a big difference.
I can see how that would create a sense of separation
Yes.
between you and the emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It helps you see the emotion as something you're experiencing, not who you are.
That's really helpful.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so we're learning not to let our emotions control us.
Right.
What should we actually do with them?
Especially the negative ones.
Especially the negative ones?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this is where it gets really interesting. The book suggests that those negative emotions can actually be valuable signals.
Oh.
That can point us toward areas in our lives where we might need to make some positive changes.
Oh, so instead of seeing negative emotions as the enemy,
Right.
we can try to see them as opportunities for growth.
Exactly.
That's self-discovery.
It's like they're messengers trying to tell us something.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, the book shares a story about Sophia,
Okay.
who realized her anger often stemmed from a deep-seated fear of making mistakes.
Oh, wow.
And once she understood that,
Yeah.
she was able to shift her self-talk from "I'm such a screw-up" to "everyone makes mistakes. It's an opportunity to learn and grow."
Yeah, that's a big shift
It
in
is.
perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like that. So understanding the root cause of our negative emotions can help us take control and reframe our thinking.
Exactly. And sometimes the root of the problem isn't just a past experience. It's also those deeply ingrained beliefs that we often accept as truths without questioning.
You mean those limiting beliefs?
Those limiting beliefs, exactly.
Yeah, those can really mess with your head.
They can have a huge impact on our emotional well-being.
Yeah, the book gives examples like the fear of being laid off societal pressures to marry by a certain age and anxiety about the future.
All very common.
Like these assumptions can generate so much stress and unhappiness.
It's so easy to get caught up in these beliefs without even realizing they're just assumptions, not facts.
Oh, that's so true.
The key is to challenge them.
Okay, how do we do that?
Ask yourself, is this belief really true?
Okay.
What evidence supports it?
Okay.
What would happen if I let go of this belief?
Oh, wow. That's good.
It's about reframing our perspective.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing a potential job loss as a catastrophe, we could view it as a chance to pursue a new career path.
Yeah, like maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
Exactly, by questioning our assumptions.
Yeah.
We open ourselves up to new possibilities and reduce the emotional weight we carry.
So we've talked about observing emotions, understanding their root causes,
Right?
challenging those assumptions.
Yes.
But how do we actually let go of those negative feelings?
Well, the book talks about a technique called the Sedona method.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, it sounds really powerful.
It's a simple yet effective technique for releasing negative emotions.
Okay, so how does it work?
It offers 3 distinct approaches.
Okay.
Letting go,
Okay.
allowing space,
Okay.
and welcoming.
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 That sounds kind of counterintuitive.
It does seem counterintuitive at first.
Yeah.
But it's about recognizing that all emotions, even the negative ones,
Right.
are part of the human experience.
Right.
They have something to teach us if we're open to it.
I'm starting to see how that could be helpful, but how does the Sedona method actually work in practice?
It uses a series of questions to guide you through the process of releasing the emotion.
Oh, interesting.
So first you focus on the specific emotion you want to release.
Okay.
Then, depending on the approach you've chosen,
Right.
you ask yourself, can I let this feeling go?
Okay.
Can I allow space for this feeling? Or can I welcome this feeling?
Okay.
It's about getting in touch with the emotion and acknowledging its presence.
So it's not about forcing the emotion away,
No.
but creating space for it to just be there.
Exactly. And then there's a crucial step
Okay.
where you ask yourself, will I?
Okay.
Followed by when.
Okay.
And the answer to when should always be now.
Now.
This reinforces the intention to release the emotion in the present moment.
That's powerful. I can see how that would be really helpful in breaking free from those negative thought patterns.
It is a powerful tool for developing emotional mastery. I highly recommend giving it a try. You might be surprised by the results.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. Speaking of tools for understanding our emotional state, the book also talks about this concept of being above the line or below the line,
Oh yes, that's a great one.
which comes from the 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership.
It's a helpful way to think about your mental and emotional state.
So are we reacting from a place of calm and awareness?
Above the line.
Or are we stressed and letting our emotions take over?
Below the line.
So being above the line means you're more self-aware
Yes.
and responding to situations from a positive and proactive place.
Exactly.
Whereas below the line is more about being reactive
Right.
and letting your emotions control you.
That's it. And the book outlines some telltale signs of each state.
Ooh, like what?
When you're above the line, you're likely to be curious, open to feedback, and take ownership of your mistakes. You're able to listen to others with intention and appreciate different perspectives.
Okay, so that's above the line. What about below the line? line.
If you're below the line, you might find yourself blaming others, gossiping, getting defensive, or resisting feedback.
Oh yeah, I can see how that would create a negative spiral.
It's like you're trapped in a cycle of negativity.
Yeah, it's important to remember that we all experience both states, right? We do.
Yeah.
It's not about judging ourselves
No,
for being below the line sometimes.
absolutely not. It's about recognizing when it's happening so
Yeah.
we can shift our perspective.
So before reacting to a situation, just take a moment to ask yourself,
Right.
am I above or below the line right now?
That simple question can make a huge difference.
Wow, this deep dive into master your emotions has been so insightful.
It really has.
So, as we kind of wrap things up, what are some of the big takeaways?
Yeah, what stands out to you?
Well, for me, I think it's the emphasis on self-awareness, you know, understanding our emotional patterns and how they impact our, thoughts and behaviors.
I completely agree. It's about recognizing that we have more control over our happiness than we often realize.
Right. It's not about waiting for things to change externally, but about making those shifts internally.
Exactly. And this deep dive doesn't advocate for denying or suppressing our emotions.
Right.
It's about understanding them, learning from them, and using them as tools for growth and transformation.
And that's where those practical techniques like the Sedona method and the concept of above the line come in.
Yes.
They give us tangible strategies to actually work with our emotions in a healthy and productive way.
I especially appreciate how this deep dive encourages us to take responsibility for our own emotional well-being.
Yeah.
It's empowering to know that we have the power to choose how we respond to life challenges.
Speaking of taking responsibility,
Yes.
the book also talks about journaling.
Oh, yes.
It's a powerful tool for
Absolutely.
self-discovery and emotional growth.
It's like becoming a detective of our own feelings.
Have you ever tried journaling?
Journaling has been a game changer for me.
Really?
By recording my emotions,
Yeah.
I've become more aware of my patterns, identify triggers, and develop strategies for navigating difficult situations.
The book suggests some great prompts, like what emotions did I feel today? What triggered these feelings? How did I respond?
Right.
And what could I have done differently?
Those are all fantastic questions to reflect on.
Yeah,
Consistent journaling can be a really powerful tool
absolutely.
for cultivating a happier and more fulfilling life.
It's like having a personal roadmap to emotional well-being.
Exactly.
Well,
Before we wrap up,
yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question from the book.
Ooh, I love those.
It asks, if good emotions bring happiness and bad emotions offer valuable lessons, how can you use both to create a richer, more meaningful life?
That's such a great question.
It is.
It reminds us that all emotions have a purpose and that we can learn and grow from every single one.
This deep dive has given us a valuable toolkit to navigate the complexities of our emotional world
Absolutely.
with greater awareness, skill, and compassion.
I couldn't agree more.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Likewise, and I can't wait to dive into more fascinating topics with you in the future.
Me too.
Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, you have the power to master your emotions and create a life you truly love.